Hi guys, Brian from Boas here. I've been getting a lot of messages lately from people who are interested in possibly acquiring some of my baby locality boas. And one of the most common questions I get is if I do waiting lists. And the short answer is no, I don't. And today I want to go over the reasons why. But I also want to briefly review my sales procedures and show you some of my animals that I have paired up right now. So if you're interested in adding some of my locality boas to your collection this year, this would be a good video to stay tuned to. If you're new to the channel, this is the place for information about all aspects of keeping and breeding boa constrictors in captivity, so be sure to subscribe if you want to learn all about these amazing animals. So first off, do I do waiting lists? And as you probably figured out by the title of this video, no, I don't do waiting lists. And there's a few reasons for this. So when I first started out doing this, I did do waiting lists and I took down people's names, and months before I had any litter, people were really anxious and excited, and they really were 100% committed that they wanted these animals. And so the time went by, and finally I had the babies on the ground, and I went back and contacted people, and I either got two responses. Either the person just didn't bother to respond at all, or they said, sorry, I don't have the money now, or I can't get it for whatever reason. Or so basically zero of the people that were on the waiting list actually ended up buying the boas. And in the meantime, I had a lot of people who were interested. They contacted me when I had my babies, and they wanted to have the babies now, but unfortunately I already had this waiting list, so I had to reach out to these people, and then I had to get back to the people after I didn't hear back from the people on the waiting list. And by then many of the people had been put on hold, so it was just a really messy situation, and it really was a waste of my time. I'm very busy. I have a day job, I have all my snakes, I have my family, I have these videos, so I don't have time to go tracking down people on waiting lists, especially when a lot of the people, once the babies are finally born, they're no longer interested or able to get these babies. So you might say, well, why not just take deposits, like 25% deposit to get on a waiting list, or some breeders actually charge full price up front to get on a waiting list. And then, when the babies are born, you can always refund the people. Well, again, this is going to take a lot of effort keeping track of who's paid and who is owed what. And then whenever somebody sends you money, you're kind of more committed to them. And so you have their money, and it sets up kind of a weird situation. And when you do this, remember, breeding boas is never guaranteed. As hopeful as I am, I don't think I'm going to get 100% success this breeding season. Typically I get between 50% and 100%, but the more litters you have, the less likely I'm going to get 100%. So if I can get like 2/3 of my litters, I have about a dozen pairings this year. If I get like 2/3, that's going to be a really good success rate, and I'll be really happy. But I don't know which ones are going to take. So if you want like say a longicauda boa, I have a pairing, but I can't 100% guarantee. So if you send me a deposit for this animal, there's a pretty good chance it might not take. And then I have to send the money back to you, and it sets up kind of a weird dynamic, and it's just not something I want to be part of, to be in that kind of situation. And then there's practical reasons as well. If you pay through PayPal and you pay me the deposit, if I go and send you the deposit back, I'm going to lose the 3% PayPal fees or whatever, because PayPal doesn't refund PayPal fees on deposits anymore. Another reason I don't do waiting lists is somewhat superstitious, but I don't want to jinx my odds of success. And to be honest, I'm a little reluctant sharing all these breedings with you guys out there. Boa breeders have to be superstitious because there's always an element of luck involved. It's never guaranteed. And like with anything like that, you need these little superstitious rituals. And something I have buried in my brain for whatever reason is that when I share information about a pairing, it's less likely to be successful. So as crazy as it might sound, I've already shared with you guys all my pairings for this year. I hope I didn't jinx myself. We'll have to see, 6 months from now if that's the case or not. But to have a waiting list and to tell people, yeah, I think I'm gonna have 20 baby longicaudas in 6 months, that's just really jinxing it, okay? So I'm not gonna do that. I don't know the sizes of my litters. You know, sizes of boa litters can be anywhere from 1 to like 80. You know, and if I'm lucky, I'll get 15, 20, 25 babies, but I might only get a handful of babies. I often will like to hold back babies for myself. If not indefinitely, I at least want to raise them up for a year or two. So there's a lot of these things at play, and to have a waiting list and to have people think they're on this list and they're going to get these babies, it just sets up a bad dynamic. So I don't want to do that. I've even heard of situations where breeders had waiting lists that they charged money to be on, and then the time came where the babies were supposed to be born and the buyers did not hear anything from the breeders, so they just basically kept the money, or didn't refund the money. So there's all kinds of negative things that can happen. Maybe these breeders had an emergency and had to spend the money on something else, and then when it came time they had no baby boas to sell, but they couldn't refund the person's money. So there's a lot of things like that that can happen. I'm not a person that would ever spend someone else's money, which is one of the reasons why I don't have these waiting lists. But hopefully this gives you an appreciation of some of the many reasons I don't do waiting lists. So now I just want to briefly review my sales terms. It's pretty simple. It's first come, first served, once my babies are established. Typically the babies are established in about 1.5 to 2 months after they're born. They have to be feeding and healthy and ready to go. And like I said, I share all my breeding plans with you guys. I did a series of 4 videos on all of my breeding pairs for 2021. It's about a dozen pairs. So check out those videos if you're interested. This will give you a good idea of my potential babies for 2021. And if you see an animal that you really want to add to your collection, like say a Paraguanera or a Honduran Firebelly, you can pay attention to my videos, because I'm going to give regular updates on my breeding pairs like I did last year. Probably about every, month and a half, depending on how things are going. And then once babies are born, I typically will try to do an update video every time I have a litter born, just showing you the babies. Hopefully I can even capture when the babies are popping out of the mother snake, which is always great to see. But these videos will come pretty regularly. So if you see a boa you're interested in and you see the birthing video, you'll know that odds are that it'll be available in about 2 months or so. And again, I will give regular updates on animal availability. Once the animals are ready to sell, typically I'll post them on one of the online classifieds like Fauna Classifieds or King Snake, and I'll let you guys know when I'm going to post them in a video. And then you go to the ad, you can pick out the animal you want, you can see the prices, and then it's a first come first served basis from there. So again, this is about 2 months or so after the babies are born and they're ready to go. Once the baby boas are listed, it's first come first served. So the people that contact me the soonest and put down their payment or their deposit soonest are the ones who are going to get the animals. I do payment plans, and my terms are 25% down with an additional 3 months to pay off the balance. I don't charge anything extra for this, so it's, if you want to get a boa, you don't quite have the money, it's a really good thing that you can take advantage of. However, the deposit is not refundable, so if you have to back out, you're going to lose that 25% deposit. I'm pretty flexible. I said 3 months to pay off the rest, but it depends on shipping. If it gets to be too cold, I'm gonna have to wait till the spring when it warms up to ship. But my terms are pretty flexible, so reach out to me if you have any questions, or you need a little bit of flexibility. I want you to have that boa of your dreams. So that being said, my animals sell out super quickly. I was amazed by how fast they've been selling out lately. I think locality boas are just super popular right now, and there's not that many to go around. So if you really want to get my boas, just make sure that you have the money ready when they go on sale and you're able to commit like that day, or hopefully within an hour or two after they're put on sale. They do sell out that quickly. What else should I tell you? If you want to message me with questions about a specific litter, I'll give you, whatever information I can. And again, I don't have a crystal ball, so I can't say for sure. But you know, as the time comes, I can tell more or less if I'm likely to have a litter. A lot of people are asking me already about, you know, how do your northern Brazilians look? Do you think you're going to have litter? And I can't really say at this point. So of my dozen or so pairings, it's looking pretty good so far as the activity. I'm definitely seeing signs that the males are interested in the females and they're doing their courtship and trying to line their tails up and maybe even doing the dirty deed by now. But again, it's really hard to tell. Sometimes I'll see a lot of apparent breeding activity. The female doesn't become gravid. Sometimes I see very little breeding activity and the female becomes gravid. So we'll just have to wait and see. Now I want to show you guys a few of my animals I have paired up right now. And normally I disturb them as little as possible. Just got them out for a few minutes to show you guys on camera a few animals. This is a Prometheus bloodline Suriname male that I have paired up. And I'm really hopeful that this is going to be the first second generation breeding of this bloodline. I have this guy paired up with a really beautiful female from my other bloodline, my other main bloodline I should say. So if this is successful, I think these are going to be some of the nicest Surinames probably ever produced. So really beautiful Suriname boas if you've been looking to get a top-notch true red tail boa to add to your collection. I've also got some really top-notch Pucallpa Peruvian pairings for this year, including this female. This is her first year breeding, and she's actually paired with a male who proved himself last year. So just a gorgeous, gorgeous animal. Love the markings on this female. Love the beautiful golden colors and the nice bright red tail. I don't really think they get much better than this when it comes to true Peruvian red tails. So I was lucky to have a litter in 2020 and kept some for myself, and unfortunately there weren't a whole lot to go around. I had a lot of interest on this litter. Only a few people were able to get them just because of the numbers I had, but I'm hopeful that this year a lot of you guys who wanted one in 2020 will be able to get one. But can't beat this animal as far as a top-notch Pucallpa Peruvian red tail boa. Next we have the long-tail boa, the longicauda boa, and I have a pairing. This is the female. These are beautiful dark boa constrictor. I actually paired these guys up last year, and unfortunately the female didn't become gravid. It was the first time that I paired them up. So I'm hopeful that it will take this year. I've seen some activity. It should be pointed out I did see some activity the previous year. So not quite sure that this is going to happen, but fingers crossed. I've had several times before where a pairing just for whatever reason didn't take the first time, but then the following year I'm successful. And I'm hoping I'm going to have some beautiful baby longicauda boas sometime this summer or fall. These are the Bisset bloodline. Female has really darkened up nicely and just has these beautiful dark head markings. One more 2021 breeder to share with you, and this is a really highly anticipated boa constrictor true red tail pairing. This is a beautiful North Brazilian true red tail boa. This is from Bisset, Dyer, Evans, and Renfro bloodlines produced by basically boas. And I haven't seen nicer true North Brazilian red tails than these guys. Just beautiful markings, beautiful contrast, beautiful color, just a classic illustration of the North Brazilian true red tail boa. Hopeful that I'll have some babies sometime this fall. We'll have to see. This is a first time pairing, so it might not take, but fingers crossed that I have some of these beautiful North Brazilian red tails. So that was just a quick look at a few of my breeders. I will release a more comprehensive breeding update video probably in a few weeks or a month or so, now that I'm reaching the end of the first stage of my breeding. And hopefully I'll be able to give you more updates on these and other pairs I have for 2021. So please stay tuned. So that was why I don't do waiting lists. I hope this video was helpful. As always, feel free to shoot me any questions or comments you may have. Thanks for watching and enjoy your boas.